Well, I got to have a little introduction with my dog cat, right? Your ears are forward, man. He's happy. See his tail's wagging, right? This cat's going to live to be like 50. I'm going to get him to beat a longevity record in the Guinness World Book of Record. Don't hold your breath, though. That's going to take a long time because he's only like 1 year old or a little over one. But, you know, keep him strong. Keep him, buy him seaweed and, not from Fukushima, though. Because I don't want him radioactive. But, you know, there's some things more important than silver. Like I said, money. I mean, money. That was a Freudian slip. There's some things more important than silver. That's health. Because I got money on the brain, too. But anyway. Yeah, health is more important. But, you know, I'm going to say this. You know, if keep things like looking back all the way historically. I know you hear this crap, you know, for a million times. But actually, I know some people are saying $500. But if you look back historically, go back to the 1800s and go all the way back. Actually, silver was worth about $200 an ounce. Or more. More like between 200 and a lot more. So what's going to really drive it up is panic, okay? I know this deal. Now, just to tell you again, you know, they got the talks again coming up with Iran, or Iran, whatever. I'm from New Jersey. You know, it's idea. You know, we see idea, we see Iran, so whatever. But they got the talks coming up in Geneva again, right? And Kerry, Secretary of State Kerry, you know, warned Congress about not passing any more sanctions against Iran. Now, you know, a lot of people used to think, you know, Kerry's in the hip pocket of the Israeli lobby and stuff. You know, the problem is, these guys, they're not in the hip pocket of anybody. They just suck up to anybody that they could help their political career, man. These guys are bad news. So Kerry's sucking up to something else. I don't know what the hell the deal is, but there's some other power out there. And, you know, I put this out in another video. It was like, I don't know, semi-popular or whatever. But I'm not trying to actually tell people what they want to hear. I think Jews are getting set up. Okay? Israel, Jews, and everything are getting set up. And they're going to have this conflict where Jews and Muslims destroy each other. Now, what does that mean to gold and silver and oil? Way up. But I'm going to tell you this, man. You know, say you make all this money. You know, you got to keep stuff real. See, this is one reason, you know, in retrospect, I wish I got into Bitcoins, you know, but I didn't even know how to get those damn things. You know, what do you do, buy a computer and mine them or something? But, you know, if you got $1 gazillion, I ain't changing, man. That's the whole deal. You keep it real. And that's the most important thing. I think sometimes people are too money focused and they lose sight of all the real things that are down to earth. See, one reason I like silver is because it's down to earth. It's the moon metal. It's been around forever. It's got good cosmic healing powers and stuff like that. I mean, you stick it in water for a while with some little electricity and it makes colloidal silver, right? I mean, it's fantastic. But, you know, there's a few things coalescing here, and it's not going to happen tomorrow. But I know silver today is like hit $20 just now. Woo! But it's not going to happen like, you know, tomorrow, like tomorrow. But it's probably going to happen pretty soon. We got the problem with, you know, I've talked about this before with the George Soros bet. He made a huge bearish bet on the S&P in mid-August of 2013. Now, this guy's not God. He's not going to always freaking win. But, you know, I think he, you know, when I saw the 6 Hindenburg omens, they were talking about 2 way back in April or something, and then they have 6 or more, depending on how you look at it. That was the worst it was since 2008, before the crisis of 2008, 2009. And, you know, there's like another market strategist out there predicting a 40 to 50% correction in the markets. They say it's like the freaking 1929 ordeal all again coming up. There's other people saying 15% correction in the equities and, you know, staying flat. Hey, man, don't forget this crap, because the news of the day is like the news of the day. That drives the markets today. That drives the markets, you know, whatever it is that day. But these underlying things are still there, man. You know, you gotta remember what's really going on. And I know a lot of people right now are really getting like, discouraged with this stuff. It's going to take years. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think 2014. And there's two scenarios I see in 2014, because I'm saying every 3 years. Because if you look back, 2005 was a height, 2008 was a height, 2011, 2014, and probably the final blow off top, 2014, 17, every 3 years, right? Now, the 2014 deal, what's coalescing is, I heard that they already made a deal with Iran last year to back off on the sanctions. Why do you think Kerry's telling them that? The Congress, don't pass any more sanctions. They're doing talks right now in Geneva. Israel is saying, we got to find another friend in the U.S. right now. And there's a lot of people out there that don't like Israel, but, I'm just, I ain't trying to play politics here. I think they're getting screwed up, man, to tell you the truth. But anyway, and I think they're getting led into a trap, and I don't know. That's what I see, but they're probably, if they make a deal with Iran and the sanctions are backed off, Israel's going to do a first strike either with Saudi. Saudi ain't going to want that. Saudi's not going to want that. And see, maybe the real devils behind the scene want this to happen, right? Because then it's hands off. It's hands off. We got the Muslim presidents to cooperating with Israel. Hey, the Obama is basically Uncle Tom Obama. He's owned by some rich white guys, and he ain't really Jewish. Get it? There's another thing going on here, man. So, and, I don't know about the Vatican, too. I mean, that's the mafia, okay? That's something else. I mean, some people bring that up, too. That's the mafia. But anyway, as far as, like, silver goes, it may actually go easily, ballistic like the Bitcoins, because this Bitcoins lesson is actually telling me where it can go. Because there's not that, if you start taking all the money in the world, it starts going into gold and silver, man. It's like freaking trying to take an avalanche of money, Olympic-sized swimming pool, into a thimble. It ain't going to happen, So the price can really go like a rocket. But the one thing I like about silver, though, is it's real. And you got to remember this, because when it comes down to, like, real, it's more important. I remember the ancient lessons from Rome, for instance. This is something I always got indelible in my head. During the end, they had, like, the wealthy classes. They would exchange, like, a whole pile of gold for the coarsest bread they wouldn't even looked at before, when the city was surrounded by barbarians, right? They didn't know how to kick ass anymore. Before they would have went out there and met them head on, and they would have fought whether they died or not. You know what I mean? It's like they lost everything. So you got to always keep that down to earth, no matter how much money you make on silver or whatever the hell you make on anything, or derivatives on the Cayman Islands and offshore accounts and whatever else is out there, right? Cyprus and British BVI and British Virgin Islands, whatever the hell you make. I mean, you got to keep things down to earth. Like, for instance, I got silver because it's the way I think. I got like loads of water too. You think water ain't important? Hey, say they had an EMP tomorrow, like an electronic magnetic pulse, and everything shuts off or something. Say that happens, and they got these people out there that say that, right? Or the cosmic rays did it or something. Something goes going by the planet, right? Say that happened. What you could be living in your little bullshit world thinking everything's cool because you just go to the store, you do this, you do that, you turn on the. Hey, I got a well with a well disconnect. I got a diesel generator. I got a gas generator. I got 500 gallons of diesel. I got cars that run with that run on points. I can change the points ignition in my Harley anytime I want. Got a 4-wheel drive Jeep. I got water like in containers. I got food that's freeze dried and stuff like that that lasts for like decades. Because it's freeze dried in cans. Like you just add water to it, and medical supplies, vitamins, and all this other shit. You know what I mean? if the whole world just collapsed, man, it wouldn't bother me for a long time. You know what I mean? It just wouldn't. It just wouldn't. So, that's one reason that, I like silver, too. But, was silver going to save your... See, some people are thinking of it as like, a get-rich scheme. But is silver going to save your ass in a real crisis like that? Nah. Hell no, man. You got to freaking think of other things, too. But is it going to go up a lot? Yeah, it is. It is. Because people are going to panic. It's psychological, man. That's what's going to happen. The big question in 2014 on my mind is it going to hit near or around 50 and come back down? Or is it going to go to the next point, 72 to 75, that major fib point, and then come back down? Because I'm looking at something in 2015 where I think there's going to be the next major big financial crisis where it's like really bad worldwide. Now, I know today they got numbers out, and I can tell you stuff like, in China, the HSBC numbers for the PMI, the primary manufacturing index, they're lower than expected. In Europe, they're lower than expected. Mario Draghi doesn't want to talk about the negative interest rates. I wonder why. Anyway, actuality, if they have inflation, you got negative interest rates right there. So I don't know why he would actually give you negative interest rates, because that would actually scare people out of the banks. I think that would be an extremely foolish move, but they're talking about it. They're talking about it. If you rip people off with inflation and you have real negative interest rates, but your bank is paying like 0.5%, and an inflation rate that's going on is like 3 to 5%, you got real negative interest rates, but nobody's going to panic and take their money out of the bank. But if they do negative interest rates in the banks, boy, that's going to be the freaking biggest, stupidest thing in the world. That's going to be about as smart as J.P. Morgan going on Tumblr or Twitter or whatever the hell they went on Twitter, right? And saying, ask me anything. That's like putting a sign on you and say, kick me, man. You know what I mean? They're freaking morons. Anyway, so anyway, I think this deal, though, with Israel, it's not going to come up right away, but it's pretty obvious what they're going to do. If I was living in Israel and I was Jewish or something, I would be like thinking, if I was running that country, it'd be very not easy to do, very easy to say. I try to chill out because I think they're getting set up. But man, I don't know. They are. I know they are. I know they are, man. They're getting set up. As always. What else is new? A lot of people think they run the world. They don't run the world, man. They don't run the world. Other elements run the world. Actually, I could tell you there's some stuff that goes on in the UK that is, there's some power over there. You think, the more things change, the more things they stay the same. That expression is true. In the UK, they still got the power, man. They still got the power, Actually, I could tell you, I think I said this on the other couple videos. I don't want to say the name because it was actually my grandmother's maiden name. But she's from one of them British royalties. It was actually my grandfather, basically. Great-grandfather. He was the son of illegitimate royalty in the UK, too. 6'5", all the Italians are real short, and this guy's like 6'5". Used to call him Big Grandpa. But the name is a giveaway because there's only one Italian name like that in the whole country, because they took the English name and they made it into Italian sounding, and that was the name. You're like, where the hell is this? You look up this name and genealogy. You're like, where the hell does this name come from? There is nothing. Because basically they took it from the English name, because that's who it was from, the English guy. He was a duke. Anyway, but, so that makes me part lizard, and that gives you some insight information. I ain't part lizard, man. I just like hot weather, I don't know. Maybe that's the deal. But, I had people on the internet saying, because I was related to that I was part lizard. I said, yeah, whatever. Anyway, but I think I do have very good insight on a lot of things, and, What seems to be safe right now, which is like the U.S. dollar, cash, and the stock market, it's probably going to be total opposite later on. Just remember the hysteria that was going on back in late 2010 and early 2011, or even mid 2011, about gold and silver, and the dollar's going to crash, right? It's almost like this. It's all psychology. The whole mood is flipped. But there's events coming up. There's two main things. They forestalled the problems in October that should have happened in October. They forestalled it to early 2014. There's going to be, they were talking about, debt downgrades and defaults and all this other shit. You think gold isn't going to go up under that kind of circumstances? You know it's going to go up. And number two is, I always said that a conflict in the Middle East is really what drives up, it drives up oil for sure, and it drives up gold, and it drives up silver. If there's a major tensions, gold and oil are going to go flying, and silver's going to go flying up along with it, and silver may take a life of its own, because it's the moon metal, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's going to go to the moon, man. But probably it's going to fake you out, I think, in 2014. I'm thinking it's going to go to either the 50 or the 72 to 75. I'm not sure. I think because there's going to be this other problem, and it's actually something off the Hebrew calendar. I'm not Jewish now, but I'm just saying, I think it's legit, though, what they're saying. There's something off the Hebrew calendar about every 7 years. The last time they had the problem with the financial crisis, basically, it was September 29, 2008, or September, I believe it was, or September, maybe it was September 28th, 2009, man, I'm messing that up, but I forgot. It's 7 years, so 2008, September 29, 2008. The next time is 2015 in September, and that also coordinates with the fourth blood moon, which don't happen very often. I don't know, I got a little, you know what, you could say that's crazy shit, but I don't know. There's something fishy with that whole deal, and that's why I think when silver does have a really good year, possibly in 2014, along with gold and everything, it's going to correct again, but nothing down to 20. I mean, not like what it is now. And 2017 is going to be the final elevator ride up, But if you make a lot of money, stay real, man. Stay real. Because, I hate phonies. I hate people like that. That's why I always talk plain. I don't like phonies. I don't like professionals. The knowledge is cool, but I don't like the way they act, because basically they're full of shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't like how they act. They talk cute and they're full of shit. Basically, that's what it comes down to. So I talk plain. But, just remember, the mood is, everything's like the opposite of what it was maybe almost a few years ago, 2.5 years ago. The mood's going to change. And like I said, two solid reasons. We're going to have the financial crisis hit us because of the government. In early 2014, they forestalled the problems from October. George Soros made the bet. He's still holding on his bet, right? Sounds good to me, right? And Israel is probably going to strike Iran, because I think they already made a deal with Iran behind the scenes to back off on the sanctions. And Israel's not going to put up, and Saudi's not going to put up with Iran getting nuclear weapons. And that's going to drive up gold and oil and silver. And of course, you're going to see, get your pencil and paper out, and tell, the elite guy told me, I wish this one guy would, this one I know that he talks to some people, man. I can tell you some real stories. I'd like to actually put some of that out here on the YouTube and disguise his voice, but there's some wild shit that goes on out there for real that, none of these clowns on the internet tell you about. And there is some really wild shit out there. There is. There is an underground financial empire. I wish I was part of it, And but if I had money like in the Caymans, I'd be like taking it out and putting it in gold and silver and be in Colorado or Utah in a mountainside someplace. Because that's just how I think. I go with the real. Like, I don't even trust, my bike, I got electronic ignition in my Harley Davidson I had for freaking 30 years. I got a points ignition backup on it. That's how much I trust anything electronic, okay? I don't trust nothing electronic. So, physical go all the way, all the way.